The rise of the YouTube star, a fairly recent phenomenon, is making some young folks very wealthy without having their stardom officially sanctioned by mainstream plaudits. One such star, PewDiePie, was riding the wave of fortune until last year his popularity, in the media at least, took a hit. As hate seems to be as popular as love on social media, it's not surprising he gained even more followers after his YouTube faux pas. It's reported that the 27-year-old Swede, real name Felix Kjellberg, made around $15 million in 2016 alone. His videos might be a tad silly, but that seems to work for his 57,208,847 YouTube subscribers who've watched his goofiness an astounding 16,091,506,768 times. Not long ago, one man claimed he was going to overtake PewDiePie, and that's who we're going to look at today in this episode of the Infographics Show, Jake Paul versus the average American. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. First of all, when Business Insider put together a list in May containing the world's 20 most popular YouTube stars, Jake Paul wasn't even on the list. If he really is posing a threat towards PewDiePie's YouTube supremacy, he has a long way to go. The list put PewDiePie in first place with 54.2 million subscribers. Since the article was published in May, the numbers have obviously changed. Second on the list was Latin America's biggest YouTube hit, Germán Germandia, with 31.2 million subs. Third was Spaniard Ruben Doblas Gundersen, aka El Rubius OMG, with 23.5 million subs. Fourth was the comedy duo known as Smosh, with 22.6 million subs. And fifth was Canadian youngster Evan Fang, whose gaming channel has 20.2 million subs. We don't need to tell you that all these people are multimillionaires. As for our boy Jake, where does he stand? Well, if you check his YouTube analytics, he's doing alright for sure. As of this writing, his channel has 10,453,927 subs, and in the last 30 days he's gone almost a million more. The England is my country infamy no doubt bolstered his current success. His videos have been watched a staggering 2,221,277,736 times, and in the last 30 days, 430,746,000 times. With those figures, he certainly has some room to boast about rising up the ranks to meet his Swedish nemesis. But how does he compare to the average American? A quick look at his basic information shows the 20-year-old Jake Joseph Paul was born in Cleveland and grew up in Ohio. His dad was a realtor and his mom was a nurse. This makes Jake what we call a millennial, somewhere between the age of 18 and 34. The median age in the USA is currently 37.8 years old, according to the last available statistics, so he's much younger than most American folks. He is, however, in the same age bracket, 18 to 24, as 30.8 million Americans, or 9.5% of the population. As for the millennial YouTube generation aged 18 to 34, they make up 23.4% of the American population, or 75.5 million people. We can perhaps understand his popularity by collating this number with the largest group of YouTube consumers by age, which is, again, 18 to 34 years old. We can't find the statistic for how many people in the USA were born on January 17th, but our ambitious Capricorn called Jake was born on the same date as Muhammad Ali, Benjamin Franklin, Al Capone, Kid Rock, Andy Kaufman, and Jim Carrey. If you've watched Jake's antics, the last three might make some sense, although he may have some growing up to do. Jake has one brother, also a YouTube star, so his two-child family is less than the American average of 2.6 children per family. As for his ethnicity, it's difficult to find any information, but when we looked at the etymology of his family name of Paul and his mother's maiden name of Stepnik, we can assume he has European ancestry, possibly a mix of German, Austrian, or even Scottish or French. This would put his ethnicity as a white American, the same as 72.4% of other white Americans. If he does have German ancestry, that would also tie him to 17.1% of Americans with German ancestry. We might also surmise that he is Christian, or at least comes from a Christian background. About 97% of all Ohio residents who affiliate with a religion are from one of various Christian churches. 70.6% of the American population identify as being Christian, while agnostics and atheists now outnumber the smaller religions in the US. As for Jake's face, he looks like a European with his blonde hair and brown eyes. According to the Huffington Post, natural blondes in the USA only make up 5% of the population. Brown-eyed folks make up around 41% of the population, although sources seem to differ on the exact percentage concerning eye color. One website that publishes the measurements of celebrities tells us that Jake Paul is athletic, 6 feet 2 inches tall, and 192 pounds. This makes him much taller than the average Joe in the US, who is said to be around 5 foot 9 inches. His weight of 192 pounds for such a height definitely doesn't make him a sufferer of the great American obesity epidemic. The average American man presently weighs 195.5 pounds according to the Center for Disease Control. According to some reports, Jake didn't technically finish high school and he left the place disgruntled with education, as well as leaving behind a few people that have come out and said he was a bully. He's quoted as saying he wouldn't have returned to that place unless it wasn't a Rolls Royce, but we cannot confirm this as the source looks quite dubious. But let's say Jake didn't finish high school. According to the Department of Education, that makes him much less than average, as over the last few years, the rate in the USA has been around 80 to 83% of kids getting their high school diploma. But Jake may have left for a good reason, just as Bill Gates bid adieu to Harvard before getting his hands on a bit of signed paper. Jake left home and moved to Los Angeles. This makes him a little average, as his yellow brick road type dream has become a bit of a cliche, as well as LA being the second most populated city in the USA behind New York City. Its population is 3,976,322. He went there for fame and fortune, and according to some sources, lives in an apartment with his Team 10 work buddies for a rental cost of $17,000 a month in the small neighborhood of Beverly Grove. We looked at rentals in this area and found some nice places for $4,000 a month, and one very cool looking pad for $7,500 a month, so no doubt Jake is paying more than the average for this area. The latest data shows the average rental cost in LA is $2,014 a month, but the average in the entire country is closer to $1,000. He's also causing lots of trouble for his neighbors, which could land him a fine for causing a public disturbance. He pretended to have been arrested, but that was just a prank, and so Jake can't yet join the ranks of 1 in 3 Americans that have been properly arrested by the police. Jake might not care, having made obscene amounts of money for his bling and expensive stunts by the time he was barely old enough to vote. It's thought his present net worth is around $4 million. That doesn't seem like much compared with some of the figures we often discuss in our shows, but CNBC reports that he was a self-made millionaire by the time he was 19. In another report, CNBC said that America now had a record number of millionaires at 10.8 million, which is around 3% of the 323 plus million population. Nonetheless, research shows us on average it takes a self-made millionaire 32 years to acquire that fortune, while Jake did it at hyper speed. Even more impressive is the fact that the average net worth for someone aged 18 to 35 in the USA, according to the Census Bureau, is $6,676 for a man. Even at the highest range for a man at 65 to 69 years old, the average net worth is $194,229. Most folks without a high school diploma in the USA will make an average wage of about $20,241 a year. When interviewed by CNBC on TV, Jake said once he got savvy to better monetization practices, his salary went from 6 to 7 figures. We don't have much time to talk about Jake's likes and dislikes, but we do know he likes his pet dog. According to insurance research, Jake being a dog owner puts him with another 60.2 million American households. So, what do you think about Jake Paul? Do you aspire to do something similar? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video called Bill Gates versus the Average American. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time!